My sister Sharon ran off with my husband Keith. The message arrived at 3:14 a.m. No greeting, no apology, just words. "We're in town, thought we'd drop by. Heard your boy didn't make it." For a long time I just stared at the screen. The blue light of my phone painted my face in the dark kitchen, casting thin shadows on the walls like veins. My boy. That's what they called him, like he was a stray animal I once took in, not the child Sharon abandoned when she ran away with my husband. I didn't move for minutes. The clock ticked, the refrigerator hummed. My breath fogged the cold air from the open window. 15 years of silence, and now this. Their words sat in my chest like a shard of ice. Mocking, cruel, almost gleeful. They wanted to know if he didn't make it, as if his death would make them feel lighter, as if guilt could be erased by decay. But he did make it. He made it through nights of fever, the seizures, the surgeries, through every storm that shook the small, cracked house I built after they left. And he wasn't a boy anymore. He was a man. He had Sharon's eyes, hazel but darker now. And he had Keith's jawline, the one I used to trace with my thumb when I still believed in promises. They wanted to see what was left of him. They would, just not the way they imagined. When Sharon first left, there was no goodbye, only a letter on the kitchen counter beside a half-eaten piece of toast. "You'll take better care of him than I ever could." I thought she meant Keith. She didn't. She meant her son, her dying son, the one she'd hidden from everyone, born from a pregnancy no one was supposed to know about. The doctors had said the boy wouldn't survive past 5, some kind of genetic disorder. I remember Keith's voice trembling as he told me Sharon's friend had a child, and they needed help for a few weeks. A few weeks became months, then years. By the time I learned the truth, that the boy was hers, that Keith was the father, it was already too late to walk away. They'd both vanished by then, together, left me with their secret, their sin, and the child who carried both their blood. The world thought I was noble for taking him in, a saint, they said. "You've got such a kind heart, Mary." But my heart wasn't kind. It was burning. Each breath I took beside that boy was a reminder of the betrayal that had carved me hollow. I looked at him and saw their faces stitched together, their laughter, their deceit. And yet I couldn't hate him. He was innocent, a victim, just like me. I raised him in silence. We lived in a small town by the sea where people didn't ask too many questions. I told him his parents died in an accident. Sometimes, when he asked about them, I'd say, "They were good people, they just made mistakes." He never pressed further. He was a quiet child, but sharp. Too sharp. The kind who watched people more than he spoke. The kind who noticed things others missed. He'd always known something wasn't right. When he turned 15, the same age he was left to die, he found the old letter, the one Sharon left on the kitchen counter. He brought it to me one night, his voice steady. Who was she? The question sliced through the air like a blade. I told him everything, the truth, stripped of mercy. He didn't cry, didn't shout, just nodded slowly. After that, something in him changed. He started asking about Keith, about Sharon, where they might be. I told him not to go looking, but he did, quietly. He studied medicine, then forensics. He said he wanted to understand blood. I never asked why. I didn't have to. He was building something inside himself, a slow, deliberate fire. And when he finally left home, he promised me one thing. When they ask about the boy they left to die, make sure you're there to see their faces. 15 years. That's how long it took. I had learned to live quietly again. My days were measured by routine. The morning tea, the empty chair across from me, the ache that never quite left. Then, tonight's message arrived. Keith and Sharon were back. They had grown wealthy, I heard, bought houses in cities where no one remembered their sins, built a life on lies. Now they wanted to reconnect, to laugh over the past like it was some distant joke. I agreed to meet them. We met at the same seaside restaurant where Keith once proposed to me. It was almost poetic, the smell of salt, the flicker of candles, the sound of waves hitting stone. They walked in hand. Sharon looked older, brittle. Keith wore guilt like a cologne, subtle but always there. He smiled when he saw me. "You look well." I didn't smile back. "You heard wrong," I said. "The boy made it." Sharon froze. Her fingers twitched around her wineglass. What? I leaned forward, my voice calm. "He's alive. And he knows." They didn't speak for a long time, just exchanged a look, half shock, half fear. Then, from the corner of the room, he appeared. Tall, composed, dressed in black. He didn't look at me, he looked at them. And for the first time, I saw Sharon's mouth tremble. Keith's hand dropped from hers. They knew. He stopped beside our table. His voice was steady, low. "You left me." No accusation, no emotion, just fact. Sharon's lips quivered. "We thought you were dying," he finished for her. "You were right. I did die, 15 years ago. The woman who raised me brought me back." He looked at me briefly, just once, and I saw it there. The calm fury of a man who'd built himself from ashes. Then he reached into his jacket and placed a folder on the table. "Medical files," he said softly. "Yours, mine. You should read them." Keith frowned, confused. "What is this?" "Proof," my son said, "of what you gave me. The sickness, the inheritance." Sharon's face went pale. "No." He smiled faintly. "Yes, it runs in the blood. Yours is next." The silence that followed was unbearable, heavy, electric. Keith's fingers shook as he opened the folder. His eyes darted across the pages. I watched the color drain from his face. Sharon started to cry, not the kind of tears that beg for forgiveness, but the kind that know it's already too late. I stood. My voice was quiet, almost kind. "You wanted to know if the boy made it. Now you do." He turned to me then, his eyes cold, alive, and unrecognizable. "Let's go, Mother." And just like that, we left them there, two ghosts trapped in their own guilt, clutching papers that would haunt them long after we were gone. The sea was dark that night, quiet. We walked to the edge of the pier, the wind cutting sharp against our faces. He didn't speak for a while, just stood there, watching the water. Finally he said, "It's over." I nodded. He turned to me. "Do you hate them?" I thought about it, about the years of pain, the nights spent beside a hospital bed, the faces that once meant everything and now meant nothing. "No," I said, "hate is too human." He smiled faintly. "Then what do you feel?" I looked out at the black waves swallowing the moonlight. "Nothing," I whispered, "absolutely nothing." He nodded. We stood there a little longer before walking back toward the lights of town. Two survivors, bound not by blood, but by what blood cost us. Behind us, the sea carried away the last sound of their laughter. And in that silence, I realized, some debts aren't paid in pain. They're paid in peace. They left me their dying son. I returned him whole, and left them hollow.